Hey guys, J-Man here. All right, we're going to be talking about Dune today. So I'm going to put a link up. Hey, Suscast, what's going on? Dune is cinema. Yep. I'm going to put a link up in the chat real soon, and I'm going to get people to come on, and we're going to just talk Dune. You got to see. You have to make sure you saw the movie. Spoilers are in effect, if you could even call this spoilers. I'm going to bring Steve in right away. Hey, Steve, how's it going?
Hey, J-Man.
How's
Long
my
week, man.
yeah? How's my audio?
Good.
Good. All right. Okay, I tried to find as much Dune stuff as I could. Here's all the different editions.
Yep.
I got my soundtrack.
Okay.
This is my reader copy of Dune.
Okay.
Just the first book. I'm gonna probably buy all the books. I read the first 4 out of 6. I've got these. These are like old school from when you're a kid. You read through the Dune. It's like adventure. It's like Dune adventure stuff. And I brought my figures out as well. I'm not going to go through all the figures, but the only one I have in the packaging is Raban. So this is Batista.
Yeah.
In the new movie. We're waiting on Sean's going to come in. Sean took his father to see it in the theater. So I think he might be actually on his way back. So I'm not sure what time he's going to pop in here. Greymalkin has said he's going to come on as well. And we're going to try to get as many people as we can on. And I'm going to post a link up for people in just a second. Let me get a link here. Copy. And I'm going to probably put this over on Twitter as well while we're at it. So you saw the movie, right?
Yeah, I just watched it. I watched it this afternoon. I had to I watched the first 2 hours and then I had to take a dinner break and then I finished it off after dinner.
Okay. So yeah, we'll all right. I say come join us to talk about Dune. And who can I add here? Who do we got that's on here? Ambassador. Who else do we had on here? Who else has been on who's like a sci-fi kind of a guy? Who else?
Action Weed isn't around, right? He said he may pop in.
Oh yeah. I think he's not popping in. I'll just say open to all. And I will put the link. I'm actually putting the StreamYard link in friggin' in Twitter. Let's see.
I'll be interested to see how many people have seen Dune.
All right, and there's a link right up there in the chat. Okay, so anyone can come on. This is going to be super open. If it gets too crazy and there's too many people, we'll limit people here and there as we go. Okay. So, what's your experience since while we're waiting here? What's your experience with Dune? You only saw what I showed you, right?
Right.
So what I actually showed you was this.
Yep.
So this is not this.
No.
This is just the Blu-ray normal. I'll get the 4K when that comes out. This is the extended David Lynch Dune, and David Lynch's name is removed from this.
So this is an Howie Smithy's Dune.
Right, even though his name is on, I think both sides. Yeah, so both sides of this, it's a two-sided. So one is the extended, and one is the normal one. So the normal one is 2 hours and 17 minutes, which is almost the same as this film. The extended version is just short of 3 hours. For this. Now the Blu-ray will not have this. I don't know where anyone can get this. I got this when it came out. I've never seen this anywhere again. So this might be a little bit rare. The soundtrack is definitely around if people like it. I do like the music for Dune. this is the TV series, and this is the Children of Dune, which is what's it called? This is book 2 and 3, sort of meshed together, and that oddly looks like
Eric Stoltz, but no, it's James McAvoy.
Yeah, is that actually James McAvoy?
It looks like him. I'd be shocked if it isn't.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to check. I my lighting in here sucks. I'm still working out my lighting.
All right, let me look it up.
Look it up and see if that's James McAvoy. Okay, so I've got my book here, which there's just so much going on in this book that it's just hard to talk about. Okay, let's see what Suscast has to say. I saw Dune HBO Max yesterday. HBO Max, yeah, okay. Pacing is really bad, but visually stunning. It has a lot of depth and lots of great concepts and ideas. 7 out of 10. Suscast, have you read the book? Let me know.
Yes, it is James McAvoy.
Wow, there you go, James McAvoy. At times, movie drags way too long. Should have been, in my opinion. Yeah, the actors did great. So let's do. I guess let's do a space review while you're on here, then, Steve.
Okay.
So what did you think of the story out of 2?
1.5.
1.5. Okay, and then what about the pacing?
1.
1. So you're at 2.5. And what's it called? The just the artistry and the music, the look of it, and all that.
1.5.
1.5. So now you're at 4. And then what about the characters?
1.5.
Okay, so you're at 5.5.
5.5. Yeah.
And then enjoyment?
1.5.
1.5. So 5.5, 6. So 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
So you're sort of where Suscast is.
Yep. Yeah. I agree with that. I agree with that rating. 7 out of 10 to me seems fair for this film. I know that Sean has ripped this one apart a bit. I don't think he killed it, but he was like, eh.
Yeah, but be careful. He just texted me saying he really liked the going to the theater to see it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
the theater
on.
experience still holds up. Oh.
The thing is that, like, see, I don't know. When Sean comes on, we'll have to talk it out through.
It'll be very interesting to hear that. Yeah.
To see what he says, because I can't really review this movie.
Right.
Like I would have to rewatch this, and I would have to like pay attention to everything that's going on and try to think about it as though I haven't seen the film.
Yeah.
That's the only way for me to review this, honestly. Like, I actually have no negative points on this movie. Well, I do have one negative point. Ever since I saw Jodorowsky's Dune, I can't get it out of my head that it makes perfect sense that every faction, or they call them houses, every house needs to be designed completely different or by a different person. So the visual effects and the visual department and the style of the suits, the costumes, I can tell that they were created by the same person. Right. And I don't think that's good.
Right.
Like, I know who the Sardaukar are. I know who the Emperor's troops are. Yeah. I know who the Harkonnens troops are. Yeah. I know who the Atreides troops are. But they look, and the Fremen, I know what the Fremen look like. But I know that that's the Fremen. But right. I don't believe that like, if I paused this movie and there's a bunch of people fighting and I said, okay, who are the Sardaukar? Right. I don't think it'd be that easy to point out for people.
You're right, because there's at one point where it's either the Sardaukar, I think it's the Sardaukar, are storming where Paul is with his mom and the doctor and Jason Momoa's character, Duncan, Idaho, are. And I think there's Fremen, or there's not Fremen, but there's other guards around there, and they're both wearing white.
Yeah. The Sardaukar have those on their chest. They have
right.
the red markings.
Right.
The Sardaukar in the David Lynch Dune are very obvious. Like
Yeah.
you're like, whoa, they look weird. Like they've got like these little screens and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I haven't read this book. I haven't read this book or watched the old Dune movie in a long time. So I could, again, my memory is not the best ever. And the book is very dense. Like this book doesn't seem very thick.
Right.
But it's very tiny print.
Right. It's like, is it 10? It's probably 10 point. Yeah, 10 point. Yeah.
And there's so many there's like appendices and stuff like that, right? So it's just very, very dense. Okay. So yeah, that would be my only complaint is that I feel that like if you look at Gidi Prime, if you look at Caladan, if you look at Arrakis, they all seem to look the same.
Yeah, I mean, I actually thought the first half an hour, I'm like, is this just a sequel to Blade Runner 2049? Sean does have a point that Denis Villeneuve seems to enjoy the same atmosphere, the same environments. It's always like dark. It's always like rainy or stormy. It's never sunny where he's filming. I think he must have had a heart attack doing the desert in Araxes because that's actually sunny for parts of it.
ACC,
you guys are nerds. I think that's accurate. Skeptic, I feel that's accurate. So yeah, it was like when I saw that, I'm like, oh good God, not another like what Sean has been saying, not another dark and stormy like location. My God, help me. But I think he got out of it. There was too much shot in the dark, I think. Like the worm comes up and it's at dusk.
Right.
And I'm like, I can barely see things. Like I could see the worm, I could see them, but it's like it wasn't very clear to me. And I was just sitting there, I'm like, guys, this isn't a Denis Villeneuve problem. This is a Hollywood problem.
Right.
They don't like shooting things out in the open. As far as the pacing, I'll be honest with you, I was never bored. I wasn't sitting there like, oh God. Like I was always engaged in everything. And I didn't feel it ended abruptly. I feel it ended where I thought it would end for movie one, right? Like I did feel that way. Like he's going off with the Freeman and he's going to, learn their ways and continue to develop and all that. And they're obviously going to get back at, Baron Harkonnen and his faction. But like, I was never bored or anything. I do realize that probably without having read the books, but just from what you've said and what other people have said, this is the only way you're really probably going to do justice to the book is to do a TV, like the TV series. I think that's literally the only way you're going to be able to do justice to all the characters that it has. And because there's so many characters, and to your point, guys show up and then they're just dead. And you're like, oh, okay. Like they don't, because the movie didn't really tell me a lot about them. It didn't I didn't register like, oh, this is someone important. Like they're just gone. I'm like, okay, I guess this person's just dead. Like they finished their screen time. And there's still like Josh Brolin's character, like Gunny, he died, right? Like he died. Gurney, sorry. He died in that siege, right? Like when they came. I didn't see him die. I saw him run off and fight. I didn't see his end. So
I don't know.
Josh Brolin is great though. I really like, and he just like quotes lines and stuff. I think that's great. I liked everyone in this movie. I don't know. There wasn't anyone I disliked at all. I love the Freemen were cool. Javier Bardem leading them is, I don't know why, I just love Javier Bardem. Like the problem is a lot of these guys, he picked good actors. So I'm like, oh yeah.
From the old movie.
Like
this is Stilgar,
yeah. But like I like Josh Brolin. I like Jason Momoa. I like Rebecca Ferguson. I like Oscar Isaac. I like all these guys anyway, so it's hard for me to sit there and say, oh, screw this. Why is this guy here? Like, I like all these actors.
let me show you. So this is Paul.
Yeah.
So that he's green.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the Fremen. They've got the still suits.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell with toys because these aren't as detailed.
Right.
Here's the Harkonnens.
Yeah.
So they're blue, right?
Yeah.
But like, you will never confuse these people.
No.
That's my problem with, right?
Yeah.
Like I know who everyone is, and this is Baron Harkonnen in the.
Yeah.
Now I know who everyone is because I just know who they are, but visually it's very difficult to tell people apart.
Yeah.
And that's why I really like the Jodorowsky's concept of everyone is designed, but like Gidi Prime should not look like Caladan at all.
Yeah.
Like, right. You know.
Yeah,
So,
and it did.
Right. You know, and that's the problem. But the thing is that like there's so much. This is not a negative, but maybe there's so much that they've removed.
Yeah.
That when I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, you've removed so much that you may as well make this movie an hour longer.
Yeah.
And just tell the whole story.
Yeah.
Because you've removed everything anyways.
Yeah.
Like for example, the guys with the things on their lips.
Yeah.
Right. They're Mentats, right?
Yeah.
So they're human computers.
Yeah.
And they're advisors to their leaders. So Leto has the one guy, like it's not Jeffrey Wright, is it? Who's the?
It looks like Jeffrey Wright, but it's not Jeffrey Wright.
Okay, so it's that guy. That's Thufir Howard.
Yeah.
And then Pieter de Vries is the guy who's from Polka Dot Man. He's Polka Dot Man.
Yeah, David Descharnes.
Yeah. So those guys are super smart. And they calculate everything. And Dr. Yui's the guy with the little triangular thing.
The guy who betrays him. Yeah.
Yeah, he betrays him. So the thing about that is that Dr. Yui cannot betray Leto. He has been literally programmed to not betray his master. He's been conditioned, and the triangle is the seal, is like the stamp of approval or the guarantee that if that guy has that, he will never betray you.
Right.
Okay. He does betray them
in
the book, and he does, but he cannot betray you. And so what happens is that Harkonnen and Piter and they're like, well, we need someone
on the inside.
But the thing is that Thufir, who's a really good Mentat, can start to predict things and be like, well, this person could betray you. This person could betray you, right? Plus, they're not sure exactly of what powers everybody else has, Jessica and all that.
Yeah.
So they're like, we have to get the one guy who would never show up on a Mentats like radar. Like,
right.
If we can break Yui's conditioning, they'll never suspect him because it's impossible to break his conditioning.
Right.
So the problem is like, see that's all gone.
Yeah, it's not there.
That goes. Baron Harkonnen might be one of my favorite villains of all time.
Right.
Because he's so smart. Like they figure out a way to break the conditioning, and then they get his wife and all that stuff. And they didn't even break it fully because he's still loyal to Paul, right? By giving Leto that tooth.
The tooth to bite in. Yeah.
That is from everything that happens in this movie is from the books.
Right.
But all of the motivations and the intricacies of it are gone.
Yeah.
So I don't know if what's left is enough to call this Dune.
Right.
Like, I don't know what to make. Like, I'm watching this. I was like, oh, Piter's dead. I'm like, he didn't do anything. He just stood there. I'm like, this guy was like one of the best characters. And I'm like, Dr. Huey shows up in 2 scenes. I'm like, that's it for Dr. Huey. I'm like, oh, it's like, you know, Shut Up Mapes, who's the remember when they lined up everybody and they're going to pick she gives her the Chris knife. She has the Chris knife in. Like, she even in the David Lynch movie, she did more. I'm like, oh, okay. So it's like everything is just like stripped away completely. I'm like, it's like me telling you about Dune. Oh, Jay, what's Dune about? And then I tell you what it's about. And you're like, oh, okay. And then that's what they shot.
Right.
And I'm like, everything else is gone. So I don't know what people are going to make. Like, people have walked away saying this is a masterpiece. And I'm thinking, if you're saying it's a masterpiece, either you read the books and you can't remove yourself from the knowledge of the books that you read, or you just thought it was so visually enthralling and you're into it that you're just like, this is a masterpiece. But if you thought that this movie was a masterpiece, then if you read this book, you will be absolutely destroyed beyond. Like, if this is a masterpiece, I would say this is like 25% of what this book is.
Right.
Like, I'm talking about, let's say, what they filmed only, not
Yeah.
the rest of it, not like what's to come. Like, what we already got, if you read up to where they filmed, you'd be like, this is the greatest book of all time if you think this movie's a masterpiece. Because for me, I'm like, this has been severely dumbed down. Like,
Yeah.
it's almost beyond. I'm almost like, wow, this is almost like a kid's movie. Like,
Yeah.
there's no depth of anything going on.
It's
right?
Dune for dummies, right?
It's Dune for dummies. Now, I'm not saying that's not a bad move. That may
Right.
have been the right thing to do to make this a movie, but I don't know. I think if you respected the book, you needed to make this like a 10-part miniseries with Game of Thrones level budget.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think that if you want the book done visually, it cannot be a movie series.
No, I saw the movie first, then read the book after.
You can't you can't do movies with Dune if you want to do the books properly, in my opinion. Like, it's like the Dark Tower. People were like, I'm not trying to say that the Dark Tower is as complex or as deep as Dune, but what I'm, when you have 7 books, which is what the Dark Tower series is, and people are like, oh, they're doing a Dark Tower movie. I'm like, it's going to suck. I'm sorry, it's going to suck. You can't do it properly as a movies series. You have to do it as a television show. I think that we can now make the distinction that, if you want it done, if you want something complex and deep done properly, you have to do it as a television series. Can you imagine Game of Thrones as a movie? Like, that would be insane.
Right. You'd have to eliminate, it would have to just come down to what is the very, very main plot line. It'll be like Jon Snow. It'll be Jon Snow versus the Queen or whatever.
Yeah.
And because you can't have Daenerys and Tyrion and
Right.
and you can't have every house doing stuff.
Right.
Like, this one, we didn't even see the Emperor.
No.
We didn't see Princess Irulan, who
Nope.
was like super important. She'll probably be in the next one a lot, but like, who they cast as her? Because, like, Chani didn't do anything in this movie. We haven't seen Alia. We don't even know. Do you know Jessica? Lady Jessica is Paul's mom, right?
Yeah, the concubine. Yeah.
Right. So, like, there's a big thing with her that, like, I don't think it was not said in this movie, and I'm scared to say it because it's a major spoiler for part 2 if you don't know what it is. But do you know who her parents are? Did they mention who the parents were?
Not in the movie.
Okay. So yeah, like who her parents are is like very important, because it changes the entire
Narrative.
thing.
Yeah.
And right, so that's all going to come in to the next movie. But the next movie has a lot to do because Paul, he has to start to do his visions. He had a little bit of his visions.
Yeah, he had some visions in there.
He had some visions, but like, once Jessica has to drink this water, Paul's gonna have to do it. Like, I don't know the way. And right now, and they didn't even get to where he gets his name Muad'Dib, and I think they're calling him something weird. I'm like, I don't recognize the name that they were calling him unless they're pronouncing it weird. They pronounced everything weird in this movie, which kind of pissed me off. They said Harkonnen.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's not how I've listened to the audiobooks, and in every other iteration they say Harkonnen, I believe, but whatever, you can say Harkonnen. But like, and they didn't show the guild navigators.
No.
I don't know, like, and there's another thing too, like, where, when Leto came in and they're in the ornithopter and the spice mining machine is there, and it's breaking down, and then he's like, oh, we got to save those people. What did you make of that scene? I just as a question before I say what that scene was actually about. Did you get anything out of that scene, or you're just like, oh, okay, he saved his guys and that was it?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it was just like demonstrating again that Duke Atreides was a good man, and obviously the whole idea behind the spicing is going to fail. He did complain that all the equipment's been sabotaged, basically saying we've been set up to fail, which was alluded to originally because Baron Harkonnen actually said, the Emperor is a very not selfish, but he's a very jealous man, right? Which gives you the idea that the Atreides clan has been set up to fail. House Atreides has been set up to fail.
Yeah, the Emperor Shaddam the Fourth or whatever has a deal with the Harkonnens, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so in that scene, when he goes there and the thing is collapsing, they have a chance to save the spice that was mined.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we have to. And he's like, oh, the guys are getting hurt or whatever. And then on the radio, the guy, one of the workers says, he's like, oh, but the spice. And then Duke Leto says, oh, forget the spice. We got to get you guys out of here. And there's a quick shot of Liet Kynes, who they gender and race swap.
Yeah.
Well, there's no races in Dune. They never give anyone's race because it's just humanity. Like humanity is everywhere. Everyone's a humanoid, and then they've been mutated depending on how they use the spice.
Right.
Right. So the Fremen have blue eyes because it's always in the air and all that. The guild navigators are completely mutated. Like they're fucking weird. Like because we never really seen them. Like everyone has their interpretation, but they're very weird and mutated because of the spice. Because the way that they use the spice to bend space and everything. Anyway, so he says, "Oh, forget the spice. We gotta save our guys." And then Liet Kynes looks over like, "Oh." Now the thing is that the point of that was that nobody would ever say that.
Yeah, right.
The spice is everything.
Everything, yeah.
Like Leto should sacrifice all those guys in 1 second
for the spice.
The fact that he doesn't was a big thing where it's like, oh my God. And that act made Liet Kynes more favorable
towards him.
And that's why in this movie, she, in the book, he is more willing to stand up for him with the Fremen and all that. Say, no, this guy's a good guy because he doesn't care about the spice. He cares about human life more. But how are you going to do that in this? And then does that even matter? Because Leto just dies like 20 minutes after that anyways.
And she dies at the end.
So like that's been removed. But to me, that's a big important thing. Right now in the movie, it's like, who cares? Now, the other thing they didn't show was Fade. That was Sting who played him in
right.
Fade Rotha is super important. He's the Paul of Harkonnens.
Yeah.
He's very good looking.
Yeah.
He's nice. See, Raban, they call him the Beast, right?
Right.
Raban, big, huge, ugly bastard. Baron, Dave Bautista. Baron is a big, ugly, fat bastard, right? He can't walk. He's so fat he can't walk. He has they're like these orbs that like literally lift him up and move him around.
Yeah.
But Fade is the nice one, right? So what Baron wants to do is he wants to send Raban in there and he riles them up. He's like, kill them all, do it. He wants Raban to go in there and stir shit up and be a dick and treat everyone poorly and be an asshole and a dictator so everyone hates him.
Right.
Because he's setting up Fade to come in and be the savior.
Right.
And be the good guy and be like, because they're cousins or whatever they are. They're either brothers or cousins. I think they're cousins, right? Like Raban and Fade.
Yeah.
And then everyone will reject Raban, and Fade will come in as the big savior, and everyone will love Fade, but he's still working for the Baron.
Yeah.
The Baron doesn't care about like Bautista. He wants him. He's setting him up to fail.
Right.
He doesn't care about him. That's not even hinted.
No, it's not even mentioned in this.
Right. So Baron Harkonnen, who is a super smart, crafty, him and Piter are so crafty and smart. All of that is gone. He's just a villain.
Yeah.
Right. And that is my biggest problem with this movie.
Yeah.
This old Dune movie. My one biggest problem is that they've made Baron Harkonnen into just a villain.
Right.
Sean's coming on as well. It should have been a series. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
100% it should have been a series. So all of that stuff is stripped away from this movie.
Right.
None of it's not even. It's not even hinted at.
Yeah.
It's like the Harkonnens are just bad. Like maybe in the second movie, you'll see Baron doing all of his plotting with Fade and all of that stuff. That could all be in the second movie.
Yeah,
I know. It's impossible. Like this movie is actually what I actually thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like exactly what I thought it was going to be. If I was going to rate it objectively, I'd probably give it like an 8.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I can easily. If someone tells me it's 10 out of 10 for them, I can, except for the look, I would accept 9 out. I would accept 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Without question. If someone says this was 9 out of 10, I'd be like, I'm with you. If somebody said this was like 5 out of 10, I'd be with them as well. Because this is why I didn't do an official review of this movie, because I can't review it. You know, like my wife thought the music was great, the visuals were spectacular, but she thought the story was whatever. She's like, oh, okay, it's just like it's the chosen one. Yet again, he's the one who's going to save everybody. It's like, okay, but we didn't get into how that works. The Bene Gesserit, who they did mention a little bit, but the way that they literally have their breeding program, where they're thinking generations upon generations, and Jessica was supposed to have female children. Yeah. Right, because it wasn't supposed to be yet, but she didn't, because Leto really wanted a son, so she gave it to him. And then that effed up the whole breeding program, because we don't know who Jessica's father is, and it's super important. And it's like that messed up the breeding program. And then here's the other thing: Jessica has another child. She's pregnant right now. In the movies, they didn't say it. I don't think.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, they did. Did they say it in the movie? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's Alia. The problem is that when Jessica in the next movie, I suppose, is going to take this water, this weird kind of spiritual water, that's gonna give her the ultimate Bene Gesserit powers, and it makes Alia, it gives her all the powers of a Reverend Mother. So when Alia is a baby who gets born and immediately is the smartest baby like ever, like it's like she has all of the knowledge of everything. She's like the most smartest person ever in the womb, I think. Like, so she comes out and it's like she's super smart. So her and Paul like super rule everything, right? Because, like, and Paul also does it, and he becomes the Kwisatz Haderach. Is that I don't think that's a spoiler.
That's obvious. That's obvious,
right? He's going to become the Kwisatz Haderach, and everyone pronounces that in a weird way, and nobody knows the real pronunciation, but I'm pronouncing it the way I am because that's how it is. So. But none of this stuff is set up. So I don't know, this second movie, even if it's 2.5 hours, there's stuff that needs to be set up from the first one. So I don't know. Why is it harder for Dune than Lord of the Rings? No, Lord of the Rings is still a linear story.
Yeah.
It has something to do with characters. Lord of the Rings is an adventure tale. Dune is like political intrigue, like chess pieces. You have the Emperor moving his pieces. You have Paul now, who's joined the Fremen, moving his pieces. You have Baron Harkonnen moving his pieces, trying to position themselves to get power. The Spacing Guild is not to be trifled with either. They literally control space travel. They need the spice to do it. But if you piss off the guild, it's over.
Sure. Yeah.
You can't do anything, right? The Bene Gesserit, they're super powerful, right? They've got that weirding technique, the voices and all that stuff. So the problem is there's so many factions with their own thing. That's why it's more like Game of Thrones, where Game of Thrones has all these factions. Yeah. Lord of the Rings, we've all joined up together to go on a quest. Yeah. They get separated and kind of there's a couple of side quests. Yeah. But it's still one quest. We have to destroy the ring. Right. Before Sauron comes back and gets it and then just destroys everybody. Right. Dune is not really a story like that. Sure, it's about Paul becoming the chosen one, right?
Yeah.
And all that. But and he's got several names because his Fremen name is Muad'Dib.
Yeah.
His real name is Paul, but he's also the Kwisatz Haderach, and then I think he gets another name as well, and then he becomes a Messiah. The second book is called Dune Messiah, and that's Paul.
Right.
By the way, I saw No Time 9 weeks ago. It was mediocre at best. Yes, it was terrible. Yep, I agree with you, buddy. 100% on that one, man. 100. We're in line on that one.
Yep.
Sounds very difficult to film. It is. Denis Villeneuve, however you say his name, he literally did what I guess he just did what he thought was right, which is I'll strip away all the stuff and just make it about Paul.
Yeah, make it a basic story of him. He's the chosen one, and he's having these visions and whatnot, and like his family is screwed over by the Emperor and the Harkonnens and all that, and then like him rising back to power, like the fall and rise of House Atreides, I guess you could say.
Yeah, even because if you think about it, see, the problem is they didn't show the importance of the spice enough. Because
they just said it. They just said in the voiceover. They're like, oh, the Fremen say it's like a big spiritual thing, like it increases your life and all that. And the rest of them use it for, because of space and time. Like it influences space and time. That's literally the only time anyone says what the spice does. Yeah. I think it's mentioned as a hallucinogenic at one point. Like someone says, "Oh,
it does lots of stuff."
Yeah,
it does lots of stuff. The thing is that let's say the Fremen, let's say they can beat the Harkonnens, right? The Sardaukar are not explained either. The Sardaukar are like unbeatable. Like you cannot defeat these guys. They're the best soldiers ever. And they actually have like a chapter devoted to how they became the best. Remember when was it the Unsullied or whatever it was in Game of Thrones, right? So Sardaukar are like unbeatable. Now the thing is that the Fremen, because they explain how they live and how they train and all that, but the Fremen, the way the Fremen live and the way that they have to survive in the harsh Arrakis, climate and Dune with the worms and all that, they're just as good.
Right.
Right? That's the thing, because they've had hardship as well, so they can fight back. But even if they're defeated, who cares? Dune can't do anything because the Spacing Guild controls space travel.
Right.
But this is where this problem comes in. The Spacing Guild needs spice.
Yep.
That's where they kept. So they kept saying desert power, which is in the books a lot. Desert power, and desert power. Yeah, it's important because Paul needs to control the spice.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit if the Fremen beat they turned it into a battle, and there is a battle in the book, but the battle doesn't decide anything.
Right.
It's like, okay, who cares? You can't defeat the Fremen. Well, if the Spacing Guild sends a shit ton of spaceships, they'll come in and blow the crap out of everybody.
Yeah.
But you can't destroy the spice. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
He who controls the spice controls everything.
Yeah.
Right. That's the thing. And Paul becoming the chosen one, Kwisatz Haderach, him becoming that chosen one means that he'll have all the powers of a Reverend Mother Bene Gesserit, which is like he can foresee the future. He can foresee. It's like there's like that Deja Vu movie. You could see all the different. Yeah. And then we get the whole jihad. There's a whole jihad. There's a holy war in his name, and he starts to foresee that he's the cause of this war, and no matter what he does, he cannot stop it because he's become so pumped up that people love him so much that he can't actually stop his own. He can't stop the war that's going to happen in his name. Like even he can't stop it now. That's sort of. So I don't know what's going to happen. Like I'm going to watch these movies. I'm going to buy them and all that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I like this one better than the old Dune. The old Dune had a really dumbass ending though. He had it rain, and he's like, I control the spice and all that. I'm like, if you literally make it rain on Arrakis, that would absolutely destroy the production of spice. They never explain how spice is created. It is explained in the book. It's very interesting. And they never showed the maker hooks. So what they do is they put those thumpers in the ground. It's like, doom, doom, doom. So the worm comes, right? The worm is called Shai-Hulud. So Shai-Hulud comes, And then they've got these hooks, and the way that the sandworms work is that they go underneath, and like they have these little things that like push them along underneath the sand. Well, if you expose those, if you open up their plates a bit, then their insides are exposed, and then that they don't want sand to get in there. So they use these hooks to open those up and stand there with it open so that the worm doesn't go under.
Right.
And it doesn't want that side to be going into the sand. So actually they glide on, they ride the worms.
They showed it. They did show it.
Yeah. They showed it. Yeah. But I mean, like to show how it
works. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this is the cool thing. It's like, why does the worm just go underneath?
Yeah.
Right. And suffocate the guy, because the hooks make it like open, expose the innards, and then it can't go underneath.
Right.
I like this kind of crap.
Yeah.
Right. That's the kind of crap I like.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but anyway.
Maybe he wrote it like, I guess he basically created it to say everyone who's read the books knows this stuff. So me saying it again, they already know it. So they'll be sitting there saying, I know this. Then you have the general population who's not going to get it. Right. So I guess he tried
TMI.
Hey?
Or it'll be TMI. Like it's like, I'm bored. I don't care how this works.
Bored. Why are you explaining how these hooks work? Like already at 2.5 hours, people were complaining about the pacing, I bet. Right.
And I didn't find it boring, actually.
I didn't find it boring either.
Your point too. I thought it went by pretty fast.
And I'm like super tired today, and I could not. I still like it didn't put me asleep. But yeah, I guess that's why he did it that way. Like it almost lends the question of why do this book is movies or a series of movies again. Like the Dune movie is what it is. Like David Lynch doesn't like it. I think you said he had his name removed from it, so he doesn't like Dune, I assume. Yeah.
His name is on the Blu-ray.
No, there you go.
Yeah, David. It's not on the extended, but it's definitely on. It's 100% on this.
Right.
For sure. Can't see shit on here. Let me see. I need my damn like flashlight here. Yeah, it says David Lynch on here, but it doesn't say David Lynch on
the
extended version. So this is coming on 4K.
Yeah.
So I would advise people to grab this on 4K because I think it's a really cool movie.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. So I'm going to get it on 4K. I don't know if is it up for pre-order or no?
I think it is.
Let's see. Amazon 4K. Well, there's is this a Criterion or what is this? No, this isn't Criterion. There's this one here, which is like Dune Limited Edition 4K HD Blu-ray.
Yeah.
But I thought there was a newer one coming out.
There is a new one coming out. Let me just see here.
See, because this one's $82.
Yeah, I think that's something else. Let me just.
Yeah, I'm going to look up and see what.
I'm looking it up now because it's showing. Yeah, Dune 4K special editions from Arrow. And on the American website, it is pre-order for $34.99. It's coming out in December.
Yeah, so that's Amazon what.com?
That's .com. Now for the Canadian people, one sec. Dune. If you're interested in it,
here you go. Oh no, there's a three. Whoa.
Yeah.
This one's $200 though.
Yeah, this one is. Yeah, this one's wrong. Because it's showing it's out already, which is wrong. Because why would this one be out before? Yeah,
there's one here that says $200, and it's like got like all of this stuff on it. Wow, that's crazy. If you
Yeah,
go
but for some
4K,
reason, this shows that it came out August 31st of this year. We got it before the Americans did. That sounds hyper weird. And then this one's 7603.
USA. Dune was trash. It was so long.
So all right. So let's get it. So now, have you read the books?
Yes, I read the books in high school.
Oh, okay. Did you like the David Lynch movie, or have you seen the David Lynch movie?
Before you continue, let me ask Ray. Were you forced to read the books as part of the curriculum for school, or did you choose to read them on your own?
I chose to read them because the Children of Dune miniseries was coming on Sci-Fi around the time. And so, and also this girl that I kind of like that. Yes, that one. That's the one.
McAvoy
was good. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's good. But this girl that I liked got me into it. And I thought Dune was cool, but I like Children of Dune better. It's a lot more linear. You know, you get like I like the characters better. And plus, the first time I ever seen Gani, like Ganima, like that's a cool name. I use that for my password. I used to use it for my passwords.
Oh my god,
that's awesome.
Okay, so you like the books then?
Yeah, it's just there's a lot. There's a lot of homework that goes. Like you got to know all the phrases. You got to know all the terminologies. I was like, are you really trying to be Lord of the Rings right now, Hubert? What are you doing?
And there's so much going on because there's so many factions and everybody there's so many important characters in every faction in every house that it's just like, well, like this movie, no Fade Rotha, no Princess Irulan, no Emperor, like
right.
It's like where are these people?
Well, also we got to remember we're seeing the first half of the book right now, so we're gonna get the other characters in the next one. See, that was something I was like. I was watching Dune. I was like, wait a second. Paul's dad didn't just have his mom. There was another one. There was another woman who was in love with him just as much, but like she knew that Jessica and the dad were way more deeper than what they were doing.
Yeah, everything's been stripped away. Like it's like Thufir Hawat does nothing, right? Like Yui, we don't talk about the conditioning that he could never betray. You know, it's like Piter, not you, doesn't do anything. It's like all of these guys don't do anything. Even Raban, it's like you see him in a couple scenes yelling, and you're like, okay. It's like everything's stripped away, and it's literally just Paul's little quick story, and he meets Chani, and then it ends. So I was telling Steve, if someone tells me that this movie's like 8 or 9 out of 10, I'd be like, okay. If someone says this is trash, I'd say okay, because I don't know. I know everything that happens. So I'm just watching one of these. And I showed this as an example. Remember these books when you were a kid?
Yeah.
These like read along books. It's like the read along version, right? Where it's like, look, here's what happens. Here's what happens. And then it's.
Or can we talk about how cool they made okay, first of all, they said Harkonnen way different.
I know.
I was like, that's not how you say it.
Yeah.
Everybody was saying it wrong. I'm like, that kind of took me out of it. But
me too.
The Harkonnen, the Baron. I remember seeing him in the David Lynch movie. He was flying around. He had pimples and acne all over the place. He looked like he was in a bad state. Yeah. I do like how they always made him look like a monster.
Yeah.
Like I really like he was coming out of pure oil. Like, hey, nephew, kill them all. All right, I'm back there.
Yeah,
that's how I saw her. Like, wow, like, and the fact they had Batista play the nephew, and like he's like, Uncle, why would you give up all this? Like, okay,
that's Spine Buster,
right?
Yeah, one of my issues that I think is a legit issue is that everything looks the same. Like Gidi Prime, Caladan, it's like they've all got this gray tint even Arrakis, and like the Sardaukar, the Emperor's troops, what's his face? The Fremen with their still suits.
Stilgar, yeah.
They all look Stilgar, like they all look the same. Like it's hard to tell, like if you look at the old, because I was bringing out the old figures, like there's Baron, right?
Right.
And then Fade, like, so they all have blue, right? And it's like, and like, so here's Stilgar, right? So it's like they don't look the same. Like you could tell who everybody is very quickly. And I couldn't tell, like the Sardaukar look way different, and in this one it was like the Fremen and the Sardaukar look almost the same, right?
Yeah.
Like it's hard to tell them apart.
Yeah.
It's just the tints of their still suits.
Yeah.
Okay. The casting was really good. I really like the guy they got for Paul's dad. I really saw him. Like
Oscar Isaacs,
yeah. I saw he's great in anything he is. He's good. He was good as Apocalypse. It's just the script sucked.
Yeah.
The Bene Gesserit, I could totally understand why nobody trusts them, because they seem low-key sexist.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, and they like to brag, like, oh, we control everything forever. And we believe women rule everything. Like, okay, calm down. All right. Okay. All right. I know you wish you were Helen Mirren 5 years ago, but calm down. He's up, Cronenberg.
And then they didn't show the guild navigators who were all mutated, who I always thought were neat.
I didn't understand how spice works.
No, they didn't talk about it.
They didn't talk about. I know the spice must flow. That's the thing that everyone takes away from all these Dune things, and they didn't really explain. I was saying that to Steve earlier. Like the guild navigators are like the effing owners of the universe, man. Without them, you can't go anywhere. It's like, oh, the Harkonnens and the Fremen are having their battle. Sure, have your little battle. Like, I control space. Like,
yeah.
But the point is that Paul is trying to control the spice, and the navigators need the spice. That's where you get that
conflict.
The conflict. But they're not showing any of that. So I don't know. Like, for me, I already know all of this, so it doesn't affect me, right?
I don't understand why the Emperor sent the Atreides family to die. And that doesn't even really make any sense.
Right. So again,
because he was supposed to be the best.
Right. Yeah. Again, in the beginning, and they do this in the David Lynch movie, they show the Emperor.
Yeah.
Right. They show the Emperor discussing this plan, saying like, okay, the Atreides are gaining a lot of favor in the Landrod. They're really getting up in power. He's like, I want to set them up to fail. I want them to take over, because Arrakis is the most important planet. Spice is the most important commodity. I want to shove them in there. People don't like the Harkonnens anyway, so I can remove them, put the Atreides in, team up with the Harkonnens, make the Atreides look bad, destroy them, make their house fall, and then I'll own it all. But the problem is that, firstly, Harkonnen is never going to let the Baron, or never going to let the Emperor, right? And then Paul, they don't know that Paul is the chosen one, the Kwisatz,
or that's what they say he is. Because I always thought that Jessica, she knew about it, and she was like, okay, we could really make people believe this. Like, he may not be, but we could make people believe, because people will believe a bald-faced lie over the truth.
Right.
But he is the chosen one. It's not a spoiler to say that.
I thought Leto was.
No, he's not.
I thought he was. I thought it was just one generation too early. I thought Leto was the one.
No, like
that's the father's name, Leto.
Yeah, you're talking about Leto the Second.
Yes.
You're talking about Leto the Second.
Yes.
No, Leto the Second is the one that becomes the worm. He's the one that becomes the half worm thing in the fourth book, I guess. I think Leto the Second is the worm. He's the God Emperor.
Right.
But Paul is the Kwisatz Haderach or whatever, and then Alia, his sister, who we didn't. I guess they said
abomination. Yeah.
She's at right. And they didn't reveal Jessica's parents.
Oh yeah. No one's talking about her cousin. Because we see her family all over the place.
Right, and nobody said.
Yeah, so that's 3.
Yeah, so that's gonna have to be late. That'll have to be addressed because Alia, like what happens with Alia and her thing and the way that she does something and then that person's in her mind.
Yeah.
And that was like, I think that was in Children of Dune where Alia has this person in her mind. Yeah.
And she was hearing the Baron. She was hearing her mom. She was hearing the
yeah. She could hear everybody in her mind. Yeah.
Like in the Baron's like, yeah, I'm right here. Hey, I'm your grandfather. Your mother never said anything. Why? Because she's a traitor. Like, whoa, that's my mom, bro.
Yeah, so it's like that entire part is awesome, and then the whole thing with Leto II becoming that God Emperor guy. Anyways, but that's way down the line. But this movie as a movie, I don't know. Do you think people who haven't read the book are gonna be able to follow what's going on, or because they stripped away all of the other stuff? It's just Paul learning the voice, teaming up with the Fremen, and then that's really the whole movie, really.
It should have been a TV show.
Yeah.
Dune is a TV show. You need world building. You cannot like they're trying to make Dune look like this great space opera, which it is.
Yep.
But there's a lot more in it. Like they're like, all right, it's like I feel like we're grabbing something in the mud and we're pulling it out and we're missing all the vital stuff. We're just getting like the bulk of it. Right. Like it's like, what's the other stuff? Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You don't need to worry about all that mud. Just clean it up. No, I don't think this movie's gonna do well. This is gonna be one of those movies that gets tried once every 30, 40 years, and it doesn't hit because there's no connection. Yeah. It's not like it's Lord of the Rings. Like Lord of the Rings has a straight story. It's dudes who are trying to fight a great evil. Dune, it seems like we're seeing a bunch of rich people fighting over cocaine.
Yeah.
This is Scarface. This is Scarface. And they're fighting over there, and like the Fremen are basically like the living crackheads that like they worship the cocaine. It's weird. It's a whole drug thing.
No, I was saying that to Steve earlier. I'm like, it is not an event. It's not an adventure picture. Right. It's like it's all these houses and these political intrigues and these spies and undermining and trying to grab power, and everyone's fighting for control of the spice. In the midst of all that, Paul is becoming this chosen one and seeing the future and the war in his name and all that. But they've decided to strip away all that because like Dr. Yui, the entire conditioning thing, that's gone. The Mentats, they don't talk about them being the human computers. That's all. Like that's gone. The Bene Gesserit, their entire breeding program, Jessica's father, like all that stuff is just omitted. And I'm like, even the Chris knife, it's like they mentioned, okay, it's like the tooth, okay, fine. They didn't show the spice works.
They keep that fear box. They made sure to keep that fear box.
They did keep that, Fear's the mind killer. But Paul says Fear's the mind killer, not Jessica. That was kind of weird.
And it was really weird because I don't know, like looking at it now, the Bene Gesserit are just a bunch of sexists. They're just sexist.
Well, they're scared of the male because the male is more powerful. A male Bene Gesserit,
just like a feminist. Just like a feminist. One man can do what 20 women can't. We fear the donger. Yeah. We don't want the dong. The dong is wrong. Oh wow, that could really work.
That is what it is, though, because if Paul becomes a Reverend Mother, but just more powerful. A male Reverend Mother has way, because I can't remember exactly. Does the Bene Gesserit, like the Kwisatz Haderach, can see all of the futures, right? But they can only see some of the future. I think that's what it was. Like they can't see the full thing because they can only breed. They can only do their breeding program. Like Jessica was supposed to have girls, right? And then Jessica's. I think Jessica's daughter was supposed to marry Fade, and I think that was supposed to be the Kwisatz Haderach, but then she had Leto early, so that messed up or she had Paul.
Yeah, I got it.
Right, that messed up the whole thing. So then it's like, okay, well now he's the chosen one, but then these other guys are completely messed up. But then Baron, basically inhabiting the mind of Alia in later books, it's like, well, he's alive through her, and it's like, it's crazy.
Well, I always thought when they took the spice, they were able to hear all their ancestors all at the same time.
Yes,
and like they're not talking about that.
Right, yeah, that's only the Reverend Mother and Paul, and Alia can do it. Alia can do it without the spice because she's so strong.
Right. Yeah, and so that's why. See, I know I never. All right. In Children of Dune, they said they had to kill Alia, and I was like, couldn't they just talk to her, like let her know
she was lost, dude?
No, because I understand that, but like even with the early stages, if she would have because she knew because all the voices were telling her, "Hey, you can't tell anybody about this.
I know.
If you tell them somebody, they're gonna try to kill you." And she listened, and I don't know, also fucking Idaho.
Baron Harkonnen was controlling her entire.
No,
Baron Harkonnen was Alia.
He was talking in her ear. She wasn't listening. He was just like. Right. He was making the most sense to her.
Right.
He was massaging that paranoia she was feeling because she was scared. I look at her, she was a scared little girl who didn't know what to do.
Yeah, and plus though they removed, I don't think they're going to have all that weird sexual stuff where Baron Harkonnen likes to experience Alia when she's with what's his name?
With Duncan or
Duncan or whatever. No, it was it Duncan? Yeah, I guess it was Duncan. Yeah, and it's like he wants to be present during that. It's like that's not going to be in this third movie or
They will not. They will throw out anything that looks a little creepy.
Yeah, that's not going to be in that movie but having no fade in this movie, I think here's what I think happened. They filmed just this movie. So here's what they did. They're like, we don't want to hire the Emperor. We don't want to hire Princess Irulan. We don't want to hire Fade Rotha. We don't want to get who else is missing. It's like we don't want to hire all these guys and then not have a second movie just in case this doesn't do well.
Right.
We'd rather have the second movie and then hire them all. It's sort of like if you read the Game of Thrones books, there's certain books where certain characters don't appear, right? So the problem is like you can't say to Tyrion, what's the fellow Dinklage? You can't say to Peter Dinklage saying, "Listen, put your acting career on hold. We're gonna call you back, in next season." It's like what? So what they end up doing is like, well, we have to film all their parts because we have all these actors and we have to film those parts, even if it's out of order. Right, because every chapter in Game of Thrones is a character.
Yeah.
So that would mean that Peter Dinklage would not appear in certain episodes, right? So you're hiring Peter Dinklage to perform. You're giving him a contract for a 3-year period. Well, you want to film as much as you can with it, but you're not going to say, "Well, let's not use Peter Dinklage or Lena Headey, or I don't know, pick another guy for 4 episodes." It's like, well, why did we hire them?
Yeah.
So they have to insert parts for them to do, right?
But they do that with minor characters, though. They did that with.
They did it for minor characters. They did it for Bran.
Yeah,
Bran was missing for a long time. I think
he was gone for 2 years, and then we find out he got gangly looking.
Yeah,
right. They did that for some characters. So for Dune, though, see, it's not like Lord of the Rings, where Lord of the Rings took the plunge. It took however many years they filmed all the movies.
It took 1 year to film all that, and kudos, good job. That is a studio who knew what they wanted to do. They had a clear vision.
Yeah,
and they were able to cut that and they even had extra stuff to give us.
Keep in mind that the guy who was running New Line at that time, Robert, I forget his last name. He said the day before the first day of shooting, he looked at someone in production and he's like, "Did we just hire the guy who directed Bad Taste and handed him $100 million to do our Lord of the Rings movies?"
Hey, I bet you Harvey Weinstein felt the same way about Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah,
could be. Yeah, was that Bob Shea? No, Bob Shea.
Bob Shea. Yeah, you're right.
Bob Shea. Yeah. Yeah, I like Bob Shea. He's good. He's good.
He's
not
funny.
did he? I forgot. Did he get killed in New Nightmare? Or did he survive? No, he survives New Nightmare.
Yeah.
He survives because they had him in New Nightmare when in Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Yeah. That movie was really meta and it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
awesome.
it's awesome.
Like the fact that they started killing real people,
Yeah.
and like the fact that the original Freddy, he was starting to lose his mind too, and
Yeah.
a weird subplot that was getting cool. I was like,
that was good. And he's like, yeah, because he's like, he's like, oh, he goes, you're seeing me. It's like, no, it's darker. It's not me. It's
scarier. It's
scarier. It's like a darker entity.
And he was, remember that scene where he was painting it, and like,
yeah,
he was like, because in the movie he's the nicest guy. You just,
I know,
like, and you're like, oh, he's about to lose his mind. Oh, he's losing his mind.
Yeah.
Like, this lady needed to fix everything because a lot of people were about to die.
And then Wes Craven was writing everything as it was happening.
Yeah,
like he showed her the script and he just said the line
right
before he just said the line that he wrote.
That must have been an easy day. That must have been a really easy day. Like, hey, we got the script right here.
Got the script, yeah. Read it. And she does read the script, right? Like that's the thing. She does read it, yeah.
She's like, she could have been hung over that day. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I love this scene.
Yeah, that's an awesome movie. I have the poster for that, and I had the soundtrack on cassette tape for that movie, which is crazy. I have it on cassette tape. But yeah, okay. So Sean saw Dune as well. I don't know when he's going to be able to come on. He went to the theater, so he saw it at home, like streaming, and then he went to the theater to take his dad wanted to see it, so he went with his father to go see it. So he literally texted me saying like he's kind of like, I'm on my way home now, kind of a thing. So I don't know when he's gonna come in, but I posted a link up in the chat, which I don't know if that's still available in the chat, but it should be. Where's my invite button? Copy. All right, let me post that again. Paste. So if anyone else wants to come in and talk about Dune or whatever, but I mean, I never read I'm on the 5th book. And for some reason, the 5th book was hard. I read about half of it, and I had to kind of start over because I kind of lost what was like. Duncan Idaho had been like
cloned and recloned so many times.
Yeah, he's like been cloned for like 100 years or something. Like he keeps getting recloned.
Well, I find
and he's like, weird. I remember the first one of me. I'm like,
what's that? I thought it was weird. There was a shot in the movie after Duncan Idaho dies where I thought it was literally Jason Momoa wearing the Fremen getup watching them.
Yeah. Well, Gurney definitely comes back. 100%. He'll be in the second movie. He's not dead. Duncan Idaho, I don't remember his fate. The problem is that because he's always around, he just keeps coming back. He gets cloned 100 million times. Like he's always going to come back. So I don't remember when he actually died and then got cloned. So he might be even cloned in the next movie.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, because he stays around forever. Yeah. Gurney is definitely back. Thufir becomes Baron's Mentat. So that's all movie part. That's all the second movie because Piter's dead.
Also, like with Alia getting with Duncan, isn't that a little gross? Because like he's like a grown man, and when he's there when she's born. And,
the problem with Alia, see, this is the thing. Sean's here. Sean's on now. Hey, Sean, how's it going?
Hey, Sean.
Sean.
The problem with Alia is that when she's born with all the knowledge of a reverend mother. So she's a kid, but she's older. So, and the problem is like, I don't know how they're going to handle this because that's going to be weird, right? Like, she's a little kid, but she's a woman. So I don't know what they're going to do with that. Okay, so Sean, when you saw it the second time tonight, was that tonight you saw it?
Yeah, just now, yeah.
So what are your thoughts? Like Gray read the books and he's kind of like on this movie. Steve never read the books. He's very positive on the movie. What are your thoughts now?
The first time I saw it, I realized watching it now in the theater is that when you know subject matter and then you watch a movie, you're not really watching it, you're just judging it. And so when I watched Dune, I didn't really watch it. I was just like, yeah, okay, like show me what else you got, right? Oh yeah, F this up. It's like, well, this is pretty good. And it's like, I wonder if people will understand, and you carry on with that. And you're not watching the movie. You're just analyzing it and like checking off boxes and like critiquing it while you're watching it. Just watching it with my dad, because he's I don't know if he's a day oneer, but he had all the books. So like he's followed it as they come out. So and he was sort of doing that because I could see him nodding every so often, right? He's like, yeah. But just watching it in a theater and just letting it wash over me as just a movie, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's not gonna be as deep as the book. I saw some of your conversation before, J-Man, where you're talking about like the doctor and everything. It's unfortunate because as you say, that shows the machinations of Baron Harkonnen and elevates him as a villain rather than
It's
just
crazy.
this fat dude that floats and just does bad things. He's smart, but like it's not in this movie, right? Maybe it'll be elaborated more in the next one or something like that.
But
If
he's
they make a
scary
next one,
too.
if they make a next one, I don't know. Yeah.
Right. He's scary smart because once you start getting into Dune Messiah and Children of Dune, and he is with Alia, he's basically controlling. Well, Gray and I were like, he's in her ear. He's literally there all the time with the most powerful or second most powerful person if Paul is the most.
Yeah.
And you're like, this guy's, and he's fucking, the way he's controlling her and saying stuff. It's like all of this has been laid out. Like Frank Herbert in those 6 books is crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, okay, sorry, continue on.
No, yeah, I just watching the only thing is like I don't like this. It's not just Villeneuve. It's everyone else does this like murky sort of aesthetic. I don't know. I think in the early days of that kind of thing, it was to show depth, and now there is no depth because it's all just fog. And the spaceships are cool, but like they would be better if I could see them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shots where I'm like, I don't know what the hell this thing really looks like. We didn't get a clear shot of the worms. I guess if they make another one, we'll
right.
You get a sense of them, right?
Hey, I will say this though, they spent a lot of money on those sets. Those sets are amazing.
Yeah, and then they put a fog machine all over them, and then put
yeah.
gauze on top of the lens,
Yeah,
and you can barely see them or get a sense of them, right?
Yeah,
so
I
agree.
agree.
There's some cool stuff. There's some cool design work, and even like watching it the first time, I was telling you guys that like I was looking up the action figures and stuff, and then I think after the attack it kind of drags. The steam gets, I mean, as a movie, the steam gets like taken out of it, right? But yeah, I as an experience in the theater, it was pretty awesome. Now when I saw it, I was surprised there were a whole bunch of teens and stuff in that, and they were all talking stupid shit before. Like it's like there's a bunch of teen girls behind us, and they're like they're talking about like this guy's ugly and this guy's kind of stupid and this guy's hot, and they're talking about like their classes and stuff. It's like I told her, I said, man, and it's like okay. But and then there's like kids like to our left and everything. There's a bunch of kids. I was surprised. I think like the whole Timothy Chalamet thing. And maybe like, Jason Momoa. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Sean. I didn't even know who Timothy Chalamet was.
I don't know. He's a guy. He's a. I saw him on SNL like last year or something.
Yeah, I saw that too. And he was kind of funny
with the tiny horse. The worst, the worst sketch is the one I remember. The tiny horse. Yeah.
The worst.
There's a bunch of. Pardon?
Oh no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say there's a bunch of kids and through I feel like they read the book because they would be like, oh, this guy, yeah, like and it's like okay, fine, like either that or they're a fan of the old movie or something like that. But yeah, like when Stilgar comes in, they're all like, yeah, like that guy's awesome. But like and at the end they were all debating the thing and stuff, and I was like, okay, well I guess they're engaged. The theater wasn't very packed, but it was a midday showing. It wasn't like a nighttime showing. As a movie, I think it's not trash. It's not shit, and I'm not mad at it. Like J-Man, are you mad at it for dumbing things down, or do you understand and you like it as just its own piece?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, this is my weird take on it. My weird take on it is that I always do this. If somebody watches this movie and loves it and then goes and buys the book and reads the book,
yeah,
then that's awesome.
And I think this will totally do that.
Yeah, if somebody watches this movie and they say it's a masterpiece, then I don't give a shit about anything else about Dune, that'll piss me off. I'm like that. Because if you're going to go around saying this is a masterpiece, then you should want more, right? Because if this movie is a masterpiece to you, then the book is like godly. Because like this movie's like what 20% of the layers of that book, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I have no problem with the movie at all. Sean, the way you worded it was perfectly. I sort of watched it and just analyzed it and watched it like, oh yeah, okay, I know what's happening here. Yeah, I get that. Okay. They removed that character. Oh, they dumbed that down.
Yeah.
Oh, that, and then the movie was over. I'm like, oh. And my wife thought it was great. She thought visually looked good. Even though my one negative for sure is the visuals. I don't like the way that everything is murky and dark, and it doesn't suit the purpose. Giddy Prime and Caladan look the same.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, that's my only gripe. So the most I would give this movie would be like a 9 out of 10 if I was taking away some of the, and I don't like the designs. The Sardaukar, the still suits, like the Fremen still suits.
They all look sort of the same.
They're the same, right? I never had that problem.
Old, they look like they got the remained suits from G.I. Joe.
Right. I never had that problem in the David Lynch Dune. The Sardaukar, I'm like, yep, that's them. Yep, that's the Fremen. Yep, that's the Atreides. They have their colors. And like Fade and his guys all had the blue armor, right? Like it's like I knew who everybody was.
Yeah.
So anyways, so that's my only negatives as a movie. The rest of it, it's just dumbed down. So I'm not angry over it. Like I want people to get into Dune.
No, but I feel like you can easily say that the Dune 80s movie is akin to that filmmaking at the time, and this movie is akin to the filmmaking of our time, and that everything is like it's longer to show how profound and smart it is. It's overexposed film that looks all dark and murky.
Right.
Everyone looks sort of the same and blah and
They're
drab.
explaining Zack Snyder's entire film style.
Right. And Zack Snyder, goddamn Christopher Nolan, like they're all like that, right? Everything's yeah. Why is it like morning fog dew? It's like, well, what's going on here? It's Dune. Wouldn't there be like why is there dust in the air all the time?
Right.
Like, J-Man, you and I went to a desert.
We went to a real desert.
And it's like dust storms happen every so often, but not all the fucking time. It's like you can see the sky. It's,
When the dust comes up, trouble's coming.
Yeah, and trouble did come. That was great. That's the other
we went to Burning Man. I don't know if you guys know what Burning Man is.
They know what Burning Man is.
I've heard things.
Yeah, so we Sean and I went to Burning Man with our buddy Skullman. And it was crazy. And when the sandstorms come, it's
epic.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
We got caught in one, and literally my entire head was sand. Like you come in, and I went like this, and it's like sand is just all through. And it didn't look like there was, but it's all like in you. It's crazy. But there was like what 1 or 2 sandstorms in 10 days.
Yeah.
Or something? Like
and listen, Anakin's right. Sand does get everywhere.
It does get everywhere.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's like, I relate. I don't like this line, but I relate. Yeah.
You're like, I'm with you, Anakin.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
What the hell?
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
Anakin, hashtag Anakin was right. Sand does get everywhere.
Hashtag Anakin was right.
Oh, okay. This is off topic, but I got blocked by a Marvel writer this week.
Oh,
Really? What did you
I
do?
saw your video. Okay, so I saw you posted a video saying, "Oh, get blocked," or I didn't know you really got blocked. Who blocked you?
I really got blocked. I was on Instagram 2 days ago. Nice. Leah Williams had put up a story, a video for promoting Trial of Magneto, and I put, this series wants to be a lot more clever than it is, and
Sorry, what?
that proceeded.
So what did sorry, say that again. What did you okay, Leah
It's-
Williams, she's writing, what is she writing right now?
Trial of Magneto, and she
Trial
wrote
of
X
Magneto.
Factor.
And she wrote X Factor, which was absolutely a train wreck disaster.
Yeah, you hated that, didn't you?
Yeah. So I said this series wants to be trying to be more clever than what it is, and she went, okay. And I said, you know what? This could have been an X Factor story. Why is this by month? Why is this happening in 4 months? There's no trial. And then she proceeded to give me more than I thought. She told me it was a Marvel decision. She pitched it as an X Factor story. She had no. And to me, I'm thinking like, wow, way to sidestep the blame.
Yeah. It's like, did they put pen to paper
Fucking
or
great.
like type it? Yeah.
Oh my
No,
god.
this is what she did. All the shit from like was going here, and she did this.
Oh my god.
And so I go to check because I figured that I could probably apologize. Blocked.
Oh,
I
this
got,
is,
That's Marvel writers right there.
hey.
that's her right there. Am I sharing the screen?
Yep, exactly her.
What color hair?
I pissed off I pissed off a mediocre writer.
Wow.
I mean, from what I hear, most Marvel writers nowadays are pretty terrible.
Whoa! That's not throwing slander. All right, there's still Al Ewing. There's still Donnie Coates.
What about
And
that?
Nick Spencer. I like Nick Spencer.
What about
I
that?
this up. This is like one of the
Oh,
best
awesome.
figures in that line. Man.
Ooh, I love that.
It's like
Oh my
Stillborn
God.
Iron Man. Yeah.
Looks like a
Looks like Ironmonger, but like Iron Man.
It's cool.
Iron Man.
looks like the purple dildo. No.
What about
I got one of those upstairs.
what about that Tinian guy? Tinian the fourth or whatever, or fifth
Yeah.
or whatever.
Oh wow.
He's a good.
Yeah,
he's a good
pretty
writer.
good. He's been doing Fear State.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, Leah Williams. I mean, she wrote. I mean,
Hey,
X Factor. Like it just like I don't know.
it sucked.
It
sucked.
sucked. Yeah.
Okay, J-Man. I'll pull it. I'll take the heat for this one. Leah Williams likes to write. She'll pitch it as one thing. Like X Factor was originally pitched as a hard-boiled investigative series. They're gonna start. It's like mutant Law and Order SVU. I was in, and then she changed it and made it about a bunch of like queer characters living together, dealing with a ghost. And she did the same thing with Trial of Magneto. We came into it thinking we're going to get Magneto being tried for the death of the Scarlet Witch. There's been no trial. All she does is have Magneto get pissy because he doesn't get preferential treatment.
Yeah, I know. I said that in my review.
Yeah.
I've been reviewing them all, as you guys know. I said the same thing. It's like, look, it's called Trial of Magneto. There's no trial. There's not even an investigation really. They're just like Scarlet Witch is now. She came back immediately, like she was dead, and then she was back immediately. I'm like, this could have been a one shot,
Yeah.
right? Like
This could have been. I was saying this could have been like they could have kept the books the way they are, but they could have done it bi-weekly, like and have it lead into Inferno.
So okay, so what you're saying is she then said that Marvel made decisions and stuff that undermine the story?
Yeah, no. She said that the whole thing of making it Trial of Magneto was a Marvel decision,
Marketing thing, okay.
and like could have written a better story.
That's
Like-
always helpful.
And then she blocked you? It's not like you're being a troll. You're just like making a reasonable observation.
Here's the thing. I didn't call it. I didn't call out her name. I didn't use any curse words.
No.
And I felt like, hey, you guys know.
This sucks. Oh, I'm out. And then it's like,
you guys know me. I'm an emotional guy, and there's some things that had to be said. And just because you're mad, just because I was mad at the moment, doesn't mean I'll be mad later. So I needed to say what I needed to say, and I don't care about her feelings. Fuck her feelings.
You can't be a writer and be that like thin-skinned.
No,
you're writing comics. You're writing something public-facing. You know,
I think
you're dealing with things that nerds are gonna get fucking pissed at no matter what.
Whoa, Steph, that's my other N word. Okay, I got two N words. One is neighbor, what? The other one is nerd. I come from a time where if you did not like anything that was mainstream, you kept it to yourself. You were explicit. No, I'm not. Hey, I'm happy for everybody, but I am an old school gay. I'm in the closet. You don't need to know what I'm doing.
You're in the closet? Is that why there's purple in the background? Is that your sign?
Well, I am a Leo, so yeah. Roy.
Yeah, I think the writers now, though, because you know why writers now are really upset over stuff, and it's because they're writing their personal opinions on life and politics, and that's why they get offended. Like if I write a fictional story, and I've written so many fictional stories, and someone says, "Well, I don't like this story," you're like, "Oh, that sucks," and you get a bit irritated, like, "Oh man, I tried hard," but you don't get that angry because you're like, "Okay, well, I'll write another story and I'll try something different."
Yeah,
but if
I don't get it.
Yeah, if I'm writing what I personally believe, and I'm writing like saying, "Oh, this is the way the world is," and then someone's like, "No, you're an idiot," that gets you angry because they're not writing a story; they're writing their personal beliefs. This is the main problem why these comics are going so crap. Like, it's like, again, not to bring up the Jonathan Kent and Tim Drakes and all this stuff. It's like, Tom Taylor keeps throwing this stuff in there. It's like, why, buddy? Like, this is where you've run out of ideas. It's like, I don't know what to do next. Let's make Jonathan Kent buy. It's like, okay, but how does that? What is the story? Like, I'm reading Son of Kal-El. I'm reading it right now. Like, I'm caught up. I just got the latest issue this week, came out, and I'm halfway through it, and it's like nothing's going on. It's
nothing's happening.
Yeah, right. So
you know what? Ellen did this first. Like when she had a sitcom, it was a big deal for her to come out and be like the first main headliner who's like out as gay, right? But the problem was, and I remember this, as soon as the character did that, every episode was about her being gay. Yeah, and it used to be about her running that bookstore and having friends and running a business. And I remember at the time there were advocacy groups for LGBTQ community saying like, bring it back to her being like having a bookstore, because like it's like, oh, you're not really furthering anything. You're not really like talking about it. You're just saying, oh, I'm gay every episode. And it's a rerunning record rather than showing her as a person who does taxes and lives life and has friends. So yeah, but no one's ever learned that lesson since then. It's like if your message is the same every single thing, then it's a repeating. It doesn't really. It's not really effective. So
yeah, you lose, and you're gonna lose. You're going to lose the audience who was there for the quality of the show before it turned into all about you and your sexuality. It's like, I watched Ellen. Bruce Campbell was on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
I watched boyfriend or something, or
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
probably.
And I really like Ellen. I still kind of like Ellen to this day. I kind of like her. It is from that show. It's from that show. And I thought she was super funny in that show, and I thought she was super funny in her talk show. Like, she's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, that show did take, and I watched that show, and I thought, and then she came out, and that was a big thing, and I remember that too. I'm like, oh my god. And then I'm like, okay, and I watched a bit more. I'm like, well, nothing's happening now.
Nothing's happening now, and that's when you said that about the Superboy or Superman.
Yeah.
I was like, it reminded me of that, because it's like, well, now all you're doing is just I'm gay every single thing.
Yeah.
And it's like there's no story happening anymore. Does he fight a villain? What's going on?
Yeah, like he's gonna be fighting some villains, but again, he went to this other country to fight this dictator guy. I'm like, man, this is not interesting. Like you've got Superboy or whatever, Jonathan Kent, who's
Mostly
the
Superman,
second most
but yeah.
powerful. I'm not gonna call him that.
Yeah.
You have Jonathan Kent. You have Super John. You have Super John, who's like one of the most powerful characters, and he's like he's in a protest holding a sign. Like, is this really happening right now? And I saw this. I saw this on a video where they're talking about, because they keep saying, "Oh, we're going to have all these diverse characters," yet DC keeps failing to acquire a deal with Milestone Comics.
Yeah. What's going on with that? They're not part of the DC. I always thought they were. Anyway, yeah.
You sound like Jerry Seinfeld there.
Yeah.
What is the deal with DC's hiring practices?
What? Who are the ad wizards behind this?
Batman, more like Lackman.
So they relaunched Milestone. I bought that, right? They relaunched Milestone as an anthology book, and I got that one. And then from that, they did Icon, Hardware, Static. Okay, so those are continuing on, but why are they not integrated with everything else?
I don't know how.
Is there? No, I thought about that. Is there not maybe a deal that they can't do that? Because I've never understood. They'd had a crossover. They had an Icon Superman crossover a while back, and I thought, oh, they're crossing over and they're making a big deal about the universes. I thought they would just say, you know what, these guys are now in like the DC universe, like Dakota is in the DC universe, but I guess not.
I don't think so.
Right. Yeah.
I was about to say, Gray.
Yeah, so they want all this. Yeah, they want their diversity, but they have it. Like, you have characters ready to go.
Yeah. But even so, like, whatever happened to making new characters? Like, what happened to that?
Or actually just like, okay, like DC and Marvel too. They both have a plethora of stories they can go back. You're not telling me they can go and get like a forgotten plot line and use it? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Like Secret Wars. Bringing back that shit.
I mean,
wait, would you say I have a plethora of pinatas?
Yeah, I know.
But
you know what a plethora is? What is a plethora? I'd like to know if you know what a plethora is.
It's abundance. Okay, so a word.
Great. You know what the problem is instead of creating new characters, they're just banning you on Instagram. That's the problem. That's what they're spending their time doing.
Concentrate all firepower on Gray.
Hey, you know what? Always trying to keep the black man down.
Yeah. See, if you had a picture or something, then she'd be like, "Whoa, stop!"
I'd be like, "See, like Leah Williams tried to tell me." You see what you
I think though that they always, whenever they picture like someone who's criticizing them, they picture them as some white dude. Like they don't, and you can tell that because sometimes they say something, and it's like, I'm not white though, you know. So yeah.
No, like I mean, like, oh come on, like if you can. All right, I always thought that if you put out something for the world to see, you are opening yourself up.
You're opening yourself up, yeah.
Like and like
yeah.
The fact that she got so like, how dare you? Like,
yeah.
And plus, like, I could have been meaner. I really could have been meaner.
Well, yeah, but to what J-Man says, like, if you're putting down your thoughts and feelings, don't you also know that opinions are like assholes? Like, I thought everyone knew this. One. It's like, if I were to put my opinions in a book, fresh and raw, I also know that people are going to disagree. So I'm not going to be like block people for disagreeing with me. It's ridiculous. I'm an adult.
Steven, have you had anybody tell you that your book sucks?
Right. Yes. Well,
yeah,
I've had
really?
people say I've not sucked. I've had
like
people disagree with stuff I put in there, and I'm like, okay. I didn't block them.
Like, all right, like there's so you can write these characters better. You know how to do this. Thank you, Double C. She was a double C word. Wait.
Yeah, I think
That's cupcake. Cootie head. That's what I'm
Hey, man,
saying.
can you
Cootie
put me
head.
backstage for a bit?
yeah.
Cootie head.
And then you say I can't say nerd.
Hey, cootie head. That's my C
Let's
word.
bring cooties back. No one says that
Right?
anymore.
That's it.
Yeah, circle,
Hey.
circle, dot, dot.
You never
Now
did
you
it when
got
I
a
was a
cootie
kid.
shot.
Oh,
Hey,
they should have cootie passports.
Oh,
They should have
hey,
cootie.
Oh,
I've been
It's
cootie
like-
free since '93.
oh, have cute plush like amoebas and call them the cooties.
Yeah,
Oh,
call them cooties.
I think COVID already did all this stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
You know, they're marketing the little
Marketed
COVID guy.
plush COVIDs, yeah.
Yeah,
You're right.
Oh my god,
No,
that's
terrible.
Papa COVID and
But
COVID.
like,
If I
why-
did that flush of like the 9/11 like terrorist attacks or some shit,
oh
that'd be
God,
terrible.
that's rough. The anthrax. Oh, but
Oh,
look,
yeah.
with Marvel, they need to start changing. They need to start doing new stuff because when I was a kid, Marvel used to be called the House of Ideas.
Yep.
They used to
Right.
just do stuff, and if it were up to me, I would stop going in with this idea that every comic is somebody's first. I get it, but you know what? If you Google is free, you can if you don't know something, look it up. If you if I get House of M and I don't understand it, I have to go back to. You have a computer that can tell you where to start.
Yeah.
You gotta stop treating people like they're stupid.
I've got a couple of points on that, which I just today watched the Comics by Perch video on exactly that topic that you just said. Everyone's first. Okay. It's always someone's first comic. It's actually a very, very good idea that has been taken out of context and has become stupid now.
Yeah.
The theory was that you have to through the natural course of the comic, you sort of reveal little points that are needed to know for the storyline.
Right.
Not the idea that every 10 issues we have to reboot because people can't read. Right.
I got the Spider-Man comic and it's awesome. He fights this guy and he swings and he makes up with MJ. It's wicked.
My first comic was like an Incredible Hulk comic in like 2009, and it was like Hulk's son like fighting Juggernaut. And I thought it was awesome. I didn't know the context, but it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and it's this idea has been manipulated into becoming a garbage idea, like what Gray is saying. It's like because now the concept was supposed to be that I can pick up any comic, read it, it's enjoyable, it's fun. I get a little bit of flavor of what the characters are like, and then I'm good to go and I can read the next one. But they've now interpreted this as, it's so hard to get into comics, I can't just start anywhere. So now they're like, every year we're going to reboot the X-Men team. Every year we're going to start a number one again. Every 5 years we're going to reboot the universe. It's like, guys, no. First of all, and I don't know if you guys watch Perch, but he was saying, he's like, he goes, the makers of these comics, stop saying it's hard to get into. Stop saying that. Say it's easy to get into. Do you like Spider-Man? Go pick up the latest issue of Spider-Man.
Right.
Stop saying
they
that.
Shit on the industry every time they say that. No, you're right. I picked up on that a while ago. I was like, but all you're doing is just saying that the industry's shit and you shouldn't get into comics. That's what you're saying.
All right, you guys. I first got into Spider-Man right around the movie. This was my first Spider-Man comic book.
Wow.
It was after. Oh yeah, thanks. I got into it because I thought, whoa, this is kind of cool. I wanted something really big just happened in the last issue. I was like, okay, something big happened last issue. I want to know what happened. I'm gonna go here. But I was hooked on from that point on. Everybody remembers their first. But we need to stop. Yeah, like you guys say, we need to stop treating the customer like they're stupid. It does a disservice to everybody.
Right.
Like I love this stuff. It's so it's how you get to understand. I understand physics because of comic books. It's like I understand how time, like when he was saying time travel is very complicated. It's not if you're a comic book fan. That's kind of the secret. If you read comic books, you basically understand how time travel works, but you really have to think about it. And no, that's the thing. Nobody wants people to think anymore.
That's what I loved about Star Trek.
Boom.
And they could easily just say they should just say go to the shop. Like a friend of ours, or not, sorry, a friend of mine who's one of my employees at my escape room. He loved the MCU movies, and he's like, I want to read some of the comics. I said, you know what? Who do you like? He's like, I like Thor and Hulk. I'm like, perfect. Go buy the latest issue of Thor and Hulk right now. And just coincidentally, Thor had just started. Now it's started over again since then.
Right.
Yeah.
Thor just started over. The art is great. I said, let's go. I said, I'll buy you Thor #1. Like it's still in the shop.
Right.
And I got it signed for him. So I actually got it signed by the artist.
You bought him the first issue of Thor?
No, the first issue of Thor from like 3 years ago or whatever.
I thought you meant like the first appearance. I was like, damn, that's a nice friend.
Pre-COVID, yeah. Back when we didn't have to wear a mask.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. They reboot. No, that's what I'm saying, Skeptic. They reboot this every few years.
Yeah.
So it's like, and now there's another Thor #1, like since the one he got. Anyways.
Yeah, that's my problem because I liked how like these superheroes would be like going on the same adventures for like 20, 30 years and they'd grow over time. Like, not like restarting all the time like freaking movies.
Yeah, I don't get it. And then killing the character off to reboot the movie. I'm actually getting a lot more. I'm getting a lot more No Time to Die love, because I've been. People were fighting me in the beginning. Sean knows this. This happens a lot. We're always ahead of where everyone's going to be. Transformers 1 is my #1 example. We all walked out of the theater like that movie was trash, and everyone was like, it was pretty good. I was like, okay, let's wait and see where this goes. And then the second movie, the third, the fourth, they're like, man, these movies are trash. I'm like, I said it on part 1.
Yeah.
It's like same reasons. Yeah.
It's kind of like what the Joker said in Dark Knight. Like, I'm not a monster. I'm just ahead of the curve. Like, I've tried this before.
That's right. No, I can see. So Casino Royale, I came back and I'm like, I see where this is going. This won't be any good. And then Sean, I think I used your point on this one post. It was a long ass post. I'm like, let me get all this out because I'm in a bunch of James Bond groups, and I literally said, I'm like, look, he's a rookie. His first assignment is Casino Royale. By the third movie, he's already too old. He's injured. And then he retires, and now he goes into exile retirement. I'm like, there's been like 4 movies. Like this is the 5th. Like what happened? This is the worst person ever. Mm-hmm. So check this out. Now this is in defense a little bit of Quantum. Quantum of Solace is the only movie where James Bond is just regular James Bond.
Yeah.
Does a regular mission.
Are you sure about that? I remember really not liking that one.
No. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying just concept-wise. He's James Bond. He does a mission and he wins. Like it's just a generic. Now he is in the beginning.
I thought he was mopey and shit.
No. The girl was mopey. The girl,
Vesper.
No,
the one who wanted to kill the main guy because you find out that she was beautiful, but she was burned because the main guy burned her family, and she got, I don't know. It's been years since I've seen that movie. It's been 15
It doesn't matter.
Again.
No, but I'm saying it's the only movie where it's just kind of a normal James Bond movie. Now, I'm not saying it's good or bad. Hey, Steve.
Steven, my boy.
Yeah, so I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm not saying the quality of the movie is good or bad. I'm just saying James Bond is doing his normal thing. He's on a mission. He stops the bad guy. He wins in the end. That's it. Because as soon as Skyfall comes in, then it's the whole, he's injured and he's not that good and he hurt himself and he's out of it. He can't be an agent anymore. And then he's all mopey inspector. And then the whole thing with his brother and all that crap.
Oh, God.
And then the third movie, he doesn't care about anything and he dies. I'm like, so he went from being a rookie. He was a rookie in part 1. His first assignment is Casino Royale. And then literally his third assignment, he's already done.
Yeah.
I actually didn't realize that. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if it is or not. Seems like it's just a straight up reboot. But I thought for the longest time that the Daniel Craig movies were like the continuing sequels of the other James Bond movies. But I guess not.
This is a retelling of the beginning. Like,
and end, I guess.
And then
He was already so old when he was a quote unquote rookie, like the
It
actor.
was weird. Yeah.
yeah, Skeptic, you're in the majority of regular people who are not savvy to James Bond. A lot, because when Sean and Steve and I were telling outsiders, not like our families, but they were saying, "Oh, James Bond dies," and they're like, "He's dead. How can that be?"
They were stunned. They were like,
That can't happen.
Yeah. And they didn't really grasp the idea that no, this is like a 5-part story for Daniel Craig. But even that, and I said this in my post, which I got a lot of positive response to. I said, even if that's the story, is it very good? It's like you have a main character who you just got introduced, then all of a sudden by the third film he sucks, then he's all depressed and mopey, and then he dies. And I'm thinking, is this a good series? Like, let's pretend it wasn't James Bond. Let's say these 5 movies was Jason Bourne, or let's say these 5 movies was Batman, or pick anybody. It's like, is that really what you want to see?
They tried to connect them with the 4th movie.
That's what happened in Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Whoa! Dark Knight Rises was good. Okay, it had
It's shit.
What?
I'm sorry, it is
Dark
shit.
Knight is shit.
It is garbage.
The only reason why Dark Knight is even good is because Heath Ledger killed himself like 6 months before.
Well, I mean, I never said I never said I love Dark Knight. I actually prefer Batman Begins.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Begins is the best one.
Begins is the best one.
Yeah, Begins is the
good.
best one. And then it's downhill.
Yeah.
Well, that one is for Nolan.
But yeah, this whole idea that the 5 movies is one story, it wasn't planned, because it like Spectre is the one that connects it all by saying, "Oh, these guys work for me."
Right.
But at that point, it's like, okay, so now it's an interconnected story, but it's not a good story if you're going to do that.
Well,
Right.
They did kind of mention that in Spectre, though. They kind of mentioned like
Spectre, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh no, well, yeah, okay. When God, what is that guy? The
Blofeld?
Yeah, Blofeld.
Will Ferrell?
Yeah.
He was in Austin Powers.
No, not that guy. No, the guy that the guy. I don't know this guy's name.
Blofeld.
Yeah, Wolfeld. Yeah, he was saying like, "Oh, all this. Yeah, we work for the same." Like, I think.
Yeah,
They kind of talk about that in all the movies. Like, it was part of something bigger. Like,
Quantum sort of. That's one of my frustrations with Quantum. They sort of say something. There was a bigger thing. At that point, the company didn't.
I'll still be able to hear you guys.
Spectre.
I'm just closing my camera for a sec. I'll still hear you.
Yeah,
He's not wearing pants. That's what's going on.
He's probably taking out those Superman pajamas.
Right.
No.
He's probably changing
Killing
into his
him with skin,
1984 underoos.
Holy shit, man.
Dude.
Yeah, but the thing, in Quantum, they were saying that there's a bigger thing, but they didn't have the rights to Spectre yet.
It was so labored, though. It was the most labored.
Wait, what do you mean they didn't have the rights for Spectre? I'm confused.
Spectre, the rights to the concept of Spectre and the character of Blofeld, they were all in the books, but the rights were peeled away from the Ian Fleming estate and Eon Entertainment because of Thunderball. And so
they doing?
They got the rights back, and then they made Spectre, and it sucked.
I saw Spectre.
They tried so hard.
A layover. I was so pissed.
Yeah.
Oh,
you saw on a plane, and then you saw the whole meteor thing and all.
I was in a layover. I was in a layover in Vegas.
Okay.
No, not in Dallas. I'm sorry. I was on my way to New York. For the first time. I was like, hey, I got delayed, so I was like, "Hey, I want to go see the movies." Spectre and Man with Two Fists, Man with the Golden Fist, that
Iron
Man
Fist.
with Fist,
yeah.
The Man with Two Fists. That should be the sequel.
Man with Two Fists.
That sounds like a porno. I'm not gonna lie.
There is a sequel to that. There is a sequel to Man with the Iron Fist.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I saw Spectre. I said like I went to Spectre 20 minutes. I'm like, that movie sucks. Let me see Man with the Iron Fist. That movie sucked too. So I
love the Man with Two Fists. I swear to God, you do.
Sure you do, Sean.
Oh God.
It's a pornographic BDSM movie.
It's
man.
like that punch
I-
kicker from Community,
How did they
where it's
get
like-
away with Octopussy? Honestly,
I don't know how they got away with Octopussy.
It was,
It was
the
a
same-
different
It's
era.
the name of a short story,
You
but
could say, like,
yeah.
I mean, back then, when you used to say the word pussycat, you say, you know,
Yeah,
it's a
that's fair.
it was like, it's a funny word. Like, it's a word you're not supposed to.
I know, but it
It
was a
is.
scene back then, and it was
People weren't as uptight as they are now.
Or they let a lot more stuff slide.
They let it slide. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Like, you could be a scorching racist, but if you were fun, you let it
Yeah.
slide.
I
Like,
think, yeah, there
Have
is.
you ever watched a movie called Fritz the Cat?
Yes,
Yeah,
we know
yeah.
what Pizza Cat is.
You know
No, you want to see a movie. You want to see a really good movie. Who's afraid of Virginia Woolf?
Wolf, yeah.
Yeah.
That movie was like, that movie is Marriage Story.
I've never heard of that. Like,
Yeah.
Here's the thing, you don't know why they're messing with the other couple, which makes it even funnier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh god, it's funny. Like, I want to meet a couple that's like that. I want to meet a couple that's like, we're gonna fuck with you on any given day.
yeah. Hey, J Man.
Mhm.
Whenever I think of Forrest Gump in my head, I always think of that time that you ranted about it.
About
What was
Forrest
this
Gump?
rant? I want to hear the
Forrest
rant.
Gump.
No, there's no rant. It's like I just said that Ginny or whatever her name is the piece of trash.
Oh,
So-
Ginny. Yeah.
It is.
Oh, is that the
I swore you said it was an offensive movie.
No way.
Oh, I probably said that.
Yeah, I think Sean
Oh.
is more offended.
Yeah.
I like
No,
Forrest
actually,
Gump.
they talked about that in Spiral too. Like,
Yeah,
how, like,
Yes.
they don't make that movie today because that's like
Yeah, no.
able to abuse or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people with special needs was a big hot thing in the 90s. It's like, what's his name? Larry Drake, like, made a career with that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that's
guy
not
who
right.
played Durant. It's like he won Emmys, you know, playing someone who was mentally challenged in Alien Law,
LA
I think
Law.
it was.
LA Law.
Yeah, it was a thing.
I don't
You
know.
can't
Though.
really, well, the people who are mentally challenged aren't going to know any better to get angry. So
Yeah.
they're just
But actors would cut their eye teeth just doing that, you know, and getting Oscars and Emmys like left, right, and center, man.
Do you guys
But here's the
remember
thing,
the
though.
Dudley
Forrest
Moore
Gump
movie?
might have. Oh, sorry.
Well,
Huh?
do you guys remember the Dudley Moore movie called Crazy People?
no.
I remember Crazy People.
No.
but, yeah.
89. It
Oh,
came
yeah.
out and it pissed off all the actual crazy people. They were like, "How dare you call us crazy people?
Oh,
That is so
yeah.
offensive." And I was laughing my ass off. I'm like, "Oh, now the crazy people are pissed off."
How did you know they were crazy?
Because they're doing
They
crazy
were in
things.
the sanatoriums or whatnot.
Good.
Oh.
But I don't know. I think Forrest Gump could be made today because how little Jenny is in the movie.
You could
Yeah.
cut. Well, can you really
No,
cut her out?
you couldn't gender swap it. You could not gender swap it at all. It was so bad.
Oh God!
No. Remember that one part where Forrest Gump was going to say broke up Jenny making out with that dude? Can you imagine the other way around? Some like I'm gonna. For like, this is AWOL girl just coming out like, "Don't touch my Jerry! Don't touch my Jerry!" That's,
Oh God!
for sake of conversation, his name is Jerry. Okay, I'm just saying.
I thought you were gonna try to say that it was like a double standard because of that one scene where Forrest Gump gets jerked off.
Oh,
Oh
no,
yeah,
actually, that would have been bad too. It
Yeah.
would've been across the board.
Oh right, I forgot that happened.
I don't know.
forgot about
I'm a
that.
minority. I never liked Forrest Gump.
I didn't get
It's
it.
not a
I
good
loved
movie.
it when I was a kid. I don't know, like when I was like
People-
14 or something.
Americans went gaga over that thing. I was like, what the hell? And then they made a terrible sequel book where like
Yeah.
these
Wait, they made a
celebrities
sequel
and stuff-
book?
Yeah, they made a
Yeah,
sequel
Gump and
book.
Company.
Oh God!
And the idea was to make a movie out of it, and they never did. But yeah,
Thank-
I own it.
What happened to Lost World?
that's a bit overkill for the Gump sequel, but sure.
Hey, there's-
That's the Gump Sequel review.
oh,
That's Gump and Company review right there. By
Hey,
Sean.
Gump and Company,
Do
yeah.
you guys remember Living Color? They used to have this skit handy capable superhero. Damon Wayans would basically just be
handyman. Yeah.
Handyman.
He was a superhero.
That you couldn't do nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's super positive though.
I don't think you could do it back then, but it was in living color, and they did whatever they wanted. So yeah.
Living Color had some fun bits.
And Living Color would have said, "Oh, you're gonna say we can't do it because we black."
Yeah.
That's
Gray's looking for the positive in this situation.
right.
Exactly.
It's a great time. You could say it, but and when you had remember those very special episodes where you actually learned something that was low key real, like, hey, you don't steal from the chop shop.
No, the best was
I had a
that
haircut at a place called the Chop Chop.
I always think of Different Strokes. That episode with the dude from WKRP that's molesting kids and stuff.
Oh,
that's the worst. And he takes off his shirt and he's like, "Let's play Tarzan." He's like,
or
That's a fucking 50 DKP minus!
or Family Matters when they talk about racism, where like one of the cops.
Oh,
Group's
yeah.
on the left,
Our
even
Winslow
Group's
Stein.
on the right.
hey Gray, did you hear that the new My Little Pony movie is all about racism?
yeah, it's about racism and
Oh,
politics.
Why? Racism with what? Horses?
Yeah, like
Yeah, they're
like
all
the
racist in
unicorns
that
and
movie.
shit. They're racist. They're all racist to each other. They all hate each other in some way.
Yeah, the horses don't like the unicorns. The unicorns don't like the horses.
What the hell is this?
Biggest guys you don't like, and yeah.
I don't get. I never understood that. Like, why would it? I mean,
It's on Netflix. I'm gonna
Wait,
watch
Black
it because
Beauty?
I've heard too much about it. So
I haven't heard it's bad. It sounds like it's
Unicorn?
good.
Oh.
Apparently,
no. What is it? Mr. Ed doesn't like Black Beauty because he's black.
what?
is that a thing in Mr. Ed or no?
No. Sorry, it was an old Chappelle show skit. where he
Okay,
talked about
I
yeah.
remember that one. Yeah.
animals.
Yeah.
And what apparently Mr. Ed was written on was used during Klan rallies. And and they showed this old blooper where where Mr. Ed was calling his black this black little girl. It's like, all right, N word, and she took out a bottle like, I will cut you, Mr. Ed. I know where you live.
Just side note, I need to watch Mr. Ed because I don't know how you make episodes out of that. There's so many. It's a talking horse, and it can only stay in that one stable. So I don't know what's the situational comedy out of that. Anyway.
I have no idea.
Oh,
Did you see
Mr. Ed.
Did you see the racist? Did you see the racist dog on Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's this German guy. Is it Andy Tudyk? It's one of these actors, right? So he's got this German Shepherd, and he names it Adolf. And he's like, "Hey, Adolf," right? And then Larry David's Jewish, right? So then he's
God
for a second, and the dog's growling at him, and Larry David's like, oh my god, and he's like, Heil! And then the dog sits down, and it's all calm. And
Oh God!
he's like,
I've heard about that.
It was
I've heard about
so funny.
I heard about that because Nazis used to use German shepherds to hunt down Jewish people.
Oh wow.
So when
Yeah.
you see when you see when a Jewish person sees a German shepherd, that comes to some generational trauma.
Hey!
Hell no, this is just like what happened to Mama back in the old country. I
So
don't
is
know.
that the Netflix
I don't
movie
know
you're
how.
talking about?
Yeah, the Netflix My Little Pony.
I,
movie.
It's a cartoon, right?
Yeah, it's CGI.
Netflix movie.
My fiance just locked me out of the house. Great.
Hey,
Wow.
just say he's beating you. That always
Yeah.
works.
You can't come in unless you're invited. You're like a vampire.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Well, he is redheaded and pale.
Since
You
when were
pay
vampires
Walter.
redheaded?
All right, so hey,
Is it-
Gray, are you coming? Are you going to be here next Saturday for your Halloween ranking?
Yes, I will be here for that.
All right.
Halloween.
Oh, Halloween Kill. See, that's how you do. That's how you do That's how you do horror movies now. You had to have the one where the bad guy, where the monster loses. The second one when they win, and the last one when they kind of win, but that's when you set up for everything.
Right. Yeah.
Like I want to see a movie, like when the bad guy wins. That's when you know it's a horror movie.
Yeah, that's what a horror movie is usually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or like they come back in the last second or something.
Right.
So technically, for me, with Lethal Weapon, that's technically a horror movie, right? Because the police, they're horror.
Well, who's the monster in that? Is it Mel Gibson?
Oh yeah, well, yeah. I mean, he did piss off a lot of rich and powerful South Africans.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Which movie?
Lethal Weapon 2.
Oh,
two. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then he destroyed their house.
Yeah, the house on stilts.
Right.
I just remember Toilet Bomb. That's.
I mean, okay. Yes, I admit that was racial. Going into Murtaugh's house and putting a gun, but they didn't hurt anybody. They just put the fear of God into them. Nobody got hurt.
I remember
tied up.
About Lethal Weapon 2 is Danny Glover trying to join an apartheid group. That was hilarious. He sits down and the guy looks at him. He's like, "You can't join us. You're black."
Which is,
I vaguely remember that. I gotta watch that again.
I cried
endlessly, but
can you believe that came out for Christmas?
Yeah. Danny Glover's like, "Free South Africa, you dumb son of a bitch," and Joe Pesci is like parroting every line.
No. Let's not forget Joe Pesci, his whole rant about the drive-thru.
Oh God, yes. Just tell her,
fuck you with the drive-thru. You know you're gonna be like 20 miles away before you realize you got fucked.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's true. And then they kept going on in the other movies, like, oh my God, that's all true.
Yeah.
Like, they fuck you in the hospital. First they snap you, then they fuck you. And as soon as they done fuck you, here comes the insurance company and they go fuck you some more. $10 for a fucking aspirin.
Yeah, I gotta rewatch. You know, I don't own any of the Lethal Weapon movies.
Oh yeah, it's one of the blind spots.
Wow.
Yeah.
You had the other Richard Donner movies, though.
It's funny because they had that DVD that had all four of them, like one of those Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
It's like all four like in one thing. Yeah.
I upgraded to Blu-ray on those because
I should probably get the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Hey,
okay, Skeptic, we're gonna say bye to you because we're gonna start closing it down. All right.
All right. See you. Be safe.
Enjoy your Fruit Loops.
Fruit Loops.
All right.
It's a funny term.
Okay, so next weekend, then we're gonna do the Halloween ranking. There's gonna be at least 5 of us for sure for that. So that's gonna be a lot. We'll try to. What time did I start that? I can't remember when I started.
7 or 7:30.
7. Yeah. Okay.
7. Yeah.
Because there's just so many to go through. We'll try to do a little bit of shorthand. Like I'm pretty confident on what our favorites are going to be.
Yeah.
You know, and so we're not gonna drudge up all that, but we'll do it as we can. JoJo from Flicks and Comics can't make it. She's just said let's do it without her. She hasn't been able to make it because she's got some stuff going on, so she won't be doing it. Action Elite's going to be on. Owen will be on, and us 4. I'm trying to see. There's a couple other guys who have commented on some stuff, and I'll see if they want to come or not. I don't want to have too many people. Like 5 or 6 would probably be like the most because there's just 12 movies to rank.
Yeah. All right. Can I just get? How do you guys feel about Halloween H2O?
I don't want to say anything on it. Let's hear it for next Saturday.
I was gonna say that movie has a place in my heart because it came out on my birthday.
Oh, that's cool.
And plus, it was like the first movie where the black guy didn't die.
Right.
Yeah, but it's super implausible. But anyway,
I'll say this. There's really
no. LL Cool J has it in his contract that he can't die in anything.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true.
That was. He
gets shot right in the head, and there's a pool of blood.
It was
and at the end of the movie, he's like, "Bull just grazed me." Yeah,
it was a blaze, man. Like you can't.
Blood wounds just bleed a lot.
I mean, they showed that he got bandaged up. I mean, it cut skin. I mean,
He survives Deep Blue Sea, right? Yeah, he survives everything, man.
Yeah, I think he does,
You don't
yeah.
kill LL Cool J.
You can't kill
no,
him.
what? No, yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
I think he does survive that. I like
He does
Deep Blue Sea,
survive.
though. That was a good
Yeah,
one.
Deep Blue Sea was great. Sam
Yeah, it's a
Jackson.
pretty damn
though.
good
Can we
movie.
just say-
They
Sam
did
Jackson.
kill Samuel though. They did kill Samuel, so not all.
Yeah, he dies in Jurassic Park as well.
Yeah.
That's-
No, but LL has it in his contract. I wonder if that's
Yeah.
a true thing. I'll say this about the Halloween series. There's really only one that I find that I won't watch again. It's my worst one, which is the remake. The Rob
the
Zombie
Rob
number
Zombie
one.
one?
Yeah.
The Rob Zombie first one.
Ugh.
That's the only one I don't revisit. I watched it once, I hated it, and then I never went back to watch it again. I've still to this day I've only seen it the one time. Maybe I should watch it again and see if I have a new appreciation for it.
It's
But
Rob
literally,
It's just
yeah, but not like, but literally, even including Rob Zombie's Part 2, every other movie, including Rob Zombie's Part 2, I'm okay with. Like, as long as nobody's saying anything's better than John Carpenter's original, your orders won't matter to me. Like,
Yeah.
It's like John Carpenter, Rob Zombie remake, and then this entire middle can be within reason. You know what I mean? Like,
within
I
reason,
wouldn't-
yeah.
within reason, like, you know, if someone's saying part 4 is down at, like, you know, the worst, then that's kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
you know, within
I don't know. I'm looking at these movies. This should be there should be like, all right, you take it. You know what? I'm not gonna say it. All right, like I'm already.
What's cool about Halloween to me is like they're closing in on the 15 mark, which to me is a magic number because when Godzilla reached that mark, then they started syndicating the shit out of those movies, and it's like it became sort of legendary from there. So like, I know that like AMC, I don't have cable anymore, but I know AMC
AMC's been
plays
playing
like the Halloween movies a lot.
Yes.
And a lot of people watch Halloween on TV a lot, like the Halloween movies.
True.
So like more than the other franchises, I think Halloween is going to be that magic like thing that people will talk about for the next 50 years, right?
Are you saying it's going to be the Christmas story of Halloween movies?
Yes.
Probably. I don't know why it's not now.
Like they're going to play it like it's
It
going
is
to be.
now.
Like,
I know.
They're going to play.
I only know Christmas Story because they played it every year on TV, and I discovered it there, and I was like, this is awesome. And I didn't know other people liked it too.
Yeah. It's awesome.
It's going to be Christmas story. Halloween's going to be Christmas story.
and we're gonna end it off that. Okay, so we're gonna see you guys next probably Thursday. Oh no. Are we doing something next Thursday? We sing? Am I seeing a movie next Thursday? Oh no. Sean and I are seeing Eternals the week after. Yeah. So
Right.
we're gonna be back 1 week from today talking about the Halloween movies. So all right, guys. Thanks for watching.
Hey friends, you've just been listening to J-Man, and he is the smartest person who ever lived. So make sure you like and subscribe.